about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. It feels like it's been forever since I've been in front of y'all, so it feels good to be back out here, even though we got to deal with some nonsense out here a little bit. You know, I know a lot of people that hear me talk when I say, especially when I say my outros, right? When I tell people, listen, you know, I love all y'all, even my haters. Y'all make me. You know, you guys make me better. You know what I mean? And everyone knows I kind of try to stay away from the nonsense in the community, and I keep this straight about information and facts. But there's been a lot going on the past couple of days, and due to a video being taken down on Miami Sports Fanatics, a lot of people don't know what the real deal is. So I just wanted to take a few minutes. I want to clarify things. I want to show you guys some stuff, and we're going to lay it out. So in case anyone didn't know, there is a channel by the name Miami Sports Fanatics Show. It is now hosted by strictly Gio, but it used to be hosted by Gio and his partner at the time, a guy by the name of Batman2423. Yes, a grown man calls himself Batman in this community. And so, anyways, you might remember them when they hit 1,000. I shouted them out a couple weeks ago. I wouldn't have shut him out if I knew what was going on behind the scenes, but my job here is to inform you guys, and you guys go to different shows, you guys go to different, you know, whether it's on YouTube, podcasts. So I want you guys to see the nonsense that I have to deal with in this community, okay? Because if people have known, we've really changed format. I don't do panels much. I don't do backstages really at all. So, you know, I stick to my own thing. I do my own thing, and that's how it's been for quite some time now. And yet sometimes they just keep pulling me back in. You know, they keep my name in their mouth like their favorite male appendage, and they want to say my name continuously 3 times like Candyman. And here's the thing. Whether people like it or not, I'm a leader in this community, as is TD Finstock, as is Dougley Do Wrong. I'm talking about the YouTube community right now. We are the 3 top dogs when it comes to this platform-ish, okay? And I would say EM is a leader in this community as well. So anyways, let's story time with Reason quickly. So I got a phone call a while ago about this individual Batman talking real greasy on his partner, his podcast partner, talking, just complaining about him, just dragging him through the mud, and in front of multiple people on a backstage after a panel show, proposes to EM after he drags Gio, proposes to EM, hey, I'll ditch Gio and we can go do a podcast together. Right there, Gio and TD Finstock are the reason why Miami Sports Fanatics Show has 1,000 subs. TD gave them a platform to boost it. Gio owns the channel. They're the reason why it's where it's at. And so anyway, so, you know, just a straight, you know, stick the knife in your back type of move to his partner, but it is what it is. Fast forward a couple weeks later, and a space happened on Twitter, which are just so toxic and ridiculous. And me and Gio, we had some words, but we settled it like men, all good. And through that course of that, Batman was chiming in, be like, oh, Reason, all soft spoken, all knowing his place. Because I'm gonna tell you guys directly, I've had people tell me, and I quote, oh, I wish I could be like you and rub elbows with Reason and Neil Driscoll and TD Finstock and be in the inner circle. Okay, so I know this comes from a place of envy with this guy. So we have this whole Twitter space and whatever. He's acting all in peacekeeper, but it's always the people who act a way that are really another way behind the scenes. And I got sent this DM directly to me, and this was in a group chat, and this was sent to me by someone who people wouldn't even expect to send this to me. And this is what I put up with, people. Here is Batman2423 in a group chat DMing people, preparing how to address the Canadian clown. He used emojis because I guess he can't spell Canadian or clown. There's a war starting, and I'm building an alliance. Look at this. You have literal people on their off time plotting on me over YouTube. Literally plotting on me over YouTube. How pathetic is that? Like, someone, like, this is what we've come to in this community. We've got a guy who sticks the knife in his partner, and then sees me and says he's building an alliance and there's a war starting, like he's Batman from Justice League or something over here. This is what I put up with, people. This is why I identify my haters when I identify them. This is the nonsense Reason has to put up with when all he's coming out to do is inform y'all and give you all the best show possible from a live perspective in this community on YouTube. This is what I have to deal with. This is the nonsense. And quite frankly, these are people who don't belong in this community and don't deserve to be in this community. Do you want to know why? Because listen, a lot of us don't live near each other. All we have is this magical, wonderful thing called the internet. When you break that trust, not only showing us your true character of what you did to your friend Gio, but what you're willing to do to me, because I'm an acquaintance at best. I ain't your friend and never been your friend. You've stuck one in the back and now you're plotting on the other one. Like, I want people to realize this. You know, I got a 4-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter. I already babysit kids. I don't got to be babysitting. This guy's a postal worker in his 30s. Are we serious right now? All right. Are we serious right now? So when y'all see this guy, let him know from the Phinside fam, a big F-U-C-K-U, buddy. All right. You're going to take the time out. This is how, when I tell you guys I'm living rent free in people's heads, this is exactly what I mean. I got my feet up on the table, shoes off, nice glass of cognac, cars parked in the garage, beachfront view, rent free in these people's heads, that they go out of their way and send these kind of DMs to people about me. And then, I mean, the arrogance to put up a picture of like he's actually Batman answering the bat signal. I mean, that speaks for itself what kind of dweeb this guy is. You know, talks real greasy when I'm not around. But when I was around on the Miami Sports Fanatic show, which Gio has since deleted, he was lying to everyone in the comments about how he's blocked from the channel when we could see his comments and how we weren't allowing him up when we were welcoming him up to come get that smoke. So listen, these are the type of people in this community. So when you see Reason doesn't interact with people, when you see Reason doesn't get along with people, this is why. This is why I have a small circle of 6-7 people. Ball Game, EM, Neil Driscoll, Martin, etc., etc. This is why I have a handful of people that I only trust in this community. This is the type of stuff why. Because you got people literally on their off time out here to plot on you over Dolphins YouTube. It's bad enough we got people fighting over Tua Tagovailoa, but now we got people on their off time plotting on other content creators and YouTubers. And then he's got the audacity to start a new channel once he gets kicked off Miami Sports Fanatic, thinking that's going to pop off. We know what type of person you are. You think Dougley hasn't seen this? You think TD hasn't seen this? We all know what kind of person you are. And these type of people are not welcomed in our community. And anyone who supports him, bro, it's no beef, but I'm not supporting your platform. I'm not supporting you if you support this kind of behavior. Flat out. It's bad enough this guy sticks a knife in the back, and Gio's an absolute gentleman. Go subscribe to him because he deserves it. Absolute gentleman about it. When this guy's making moves behind his back. And then there was this talk about an audio. No, Gio told him there was an audio and that he heard it after he'd already talked to multiple people who were backstage that confirmed the story. And Batman confessed once he heard that there was an audio involved. My guess is he was obviously denying it up until he heard an audio was involved. So again, that's the type of character you want to keep up on anyone wants to keep up and roll with? No, not this guy. Because where I come from, whether you were in middle school, high school, college, after the fact, when people do this kind of stuff and you see it due to their close friend first and then they do it to someone else like this, I mean, how many red flags do you need? Until what? It's okay until it happens to you? It's already happened to 2 people in this community, Gio and myself. Who's next? Well, I'm not letting it happen. So I just wanted to let everyone know this is why Reason talks about haters. This is why Reason sticks to himself right there. Now you guys can understand me a little more. This is the nonsense as a grown adult I have to put up with. I have to address this. I have to lower the quality and the standard of my show to address an imbecile like this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And already 270 people saw that. I can only imagine how many will see that by tomorrow. But that's what I got to put up with. That's what I got to put up with. Anyone who just came in and saw it, rewind it. I just gave it 10 minutes of time. I said the person's name. I'm not going to kid, because all this person is a clout chaser. That's all this person wants is clout. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The fact that I even addressed them is the most notoriety they'll ever get in this freaking community as it is. And this is what I got to put up with, man. This is what I got to put up with. Unbelievable. We come out here to talk football. We come out here to inform, to have debates. And we got people doing this kind of stuff. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They do not belong in this community. End of story. So, they already allowed Irving, who got caught with his hands in the cookie jar, they already allowed him to victimize himself and get away with it when not only did that stuff go down with TLC, but 2 days prior to that TLC stuff, I caught him talking smack about me in a Twitter space with those TLC guys, clearly to try and fit in. And this is a guy who I put on in this community. This is a guy who me and EM educated, and for 3 years, all he's done is regurgitate me and EM's points. And even someone like that will stick you in the back in this community. It's unreal. It's unreal. This is why I stick to myself. Now you know. And anyone, there's now 310 people in here. Go back and rewind the first 12 minutes. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I laid it all out for y'all. And that's enough of that. Anyways, on to football. We are 1 day away from training camp, and the anticipation is real because I can smell it. Not only is the smell of ether in the air, but the smell of football is in the air as well. Tomorrow, the guys will report, and I wanted to brief you guys on what to expect over the first little bit of training camp, what we can expect for the first 7 days, how we're going to slowly climb into things here. And the first 3 days of training camp are going to be no contact. The 4th and 5th days will be helmets and light practice gear. The 6th day will be a mandatory day off. And then day 7 is when fully padded practices can begin and we really get to work. I'm trying to blow it up. I know it's super small for you guys, but I wanted to lay out for you. That is the schedule as we move forward, guys. So you guys can see it right in front of you right there. Man, I can't believe we're already here. 305 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. We're only like 18 or 19 away from 8,500. So let's hit 8,500 tonight if we can, or by tomorrow morning. We are very, very close to it. So let's do it. But that is what we are looking at for training camp. This is how it's going to ramp up. And by day 7, you know where we're at, baby. When those pads come on, when we get ready to go rock that, I absolutely cannot wait. Can't wait. I'm super excited, man. Tomorrow, I mean, we're going to start to get hints of what this team can really be as we get into the joint practices, right? So I'm super stoked, man. Super stoked to see what we got here. Good stuff, man. It's great stuff. Ooh, let's get out of here. All right. So continuing on, let's get into the actual news. And I wanted to start off with what we have on the title screen here. Tyreek Hill. And I'm probably going to get demonetized for that. And that's okay. I don't care. Tyreek, because of ESPN's probably going to hate me for this, but whatever. We got to play this. Tyreek Hill, first of all, looking fresh in the shades. But let's get into what Tyreek Hill said today, because it's he continues to go back for the quarterback, and I absolutely love it, man. But pressure's starting to mount from the words he's saying. Let's go. Here's what went down.
Between Tua or pick between Zach Wilson, and you decided South Beach instead of New York, What was the determining factor in that? I'm crying inside.
I said it once and I say it again. You know, Zach Wilson is a dog, but I'd rather play with the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, dog.
Wow, the most accurate
I
quarterback in the
NFL.
NFL.
Because you just called him the most accurate
Wow.
quarterback in the NFL. And you made a lot of headlines about Tua's accuracy, Tyreek, in comparison to Mahomes. So what have you seen from him so far this summer? And, yeah, kind of elaborate on that statement that, you know, made the media world go wild.
I mean, obviously, you know, Tua, he's not your typical gunslinger, but, you know, like, if you really, like, just pay attention to his game, you know, everything is spot on, everything is pinpoint, you know, ball is on time, you know, his fundamentals are on point, you know, so, I mean, you know, he takes the time to make up in other areas and be great in those other areas that, you know, other quarterbacks may not be good at, you know, so that's all I got to say on that. You know, Tua, he's a fucking heck of a competitor.
Attaboy Smith swearing on ESPN.
Hard worker, you know, so like I say, man, I'm excited to work, you know, go to work with him, you know, compete with him and, you know, battle with him.
Let's bring that back. This man swore live.
He's a fucking heck of a competitor.
Let's go,
he's
baby.
A hell of a hard worker.
Let's go.
You know, so like
Smith
I say, man, I'm excited
on live
to work,
TV. I love it.
Go to work with him, you know.
Yes, Reek.
Compete with him and, you know, battle with him.
Yes, Reek. Oh, you're going to make him mad again, Reeky. You're going to make him mad again. Oh, you're going to get them all in a bunch. Now you swearing too? Now the emphasis through cussing is involved? Absolutely amazing. I'm sorry, bro. I'm waiting for that Tyreek vapor. Now, I would get a authentic Tyreek if I thought he'd be here for longer than 3 years. I'm waiting for that vapor to drop. That moment that Tyreek vapor drops, I'm all over that, man. I am all over that. This guy is an absolute stud, man. Sitting there in the glasses, dropping F-bombs, going to bat for his quarterback. Bro, this is the leader this is the swag our room was missing right there. Let's go, man. That looks like a man that's about to catch 1,500 yards. That looks like a man that's about to put up 1,500 yards. Well, I'll switch that to all-purpose. That looks like a man that's about to put up all-purpose 1,500 yards. Man, this is... they're going to be mad again. I can already hear it. I can already see it. That's why I know I'm about to get demonetized on that clip, because everyone and their mother about to use that clip on every major media platform. Oh, man. That is a... Bro. Oh, man. I need a C on Reek. I've been saying it literally since he got here and opened his mouth. That man needs to be a captain. I'm sorry. That man is providing a leadership, you know, because... You know, we've heard like Marvin Allen and stuff talk about it too, right? With that Wingfield series, about how Tua is more like of a leader, and you see it. It like when I look at Tua, I see a lot of similarities with Now I'm talking about how they prepare and how they are as a leader. I see a lot of similarities with Sidney Crosby. I don't know if anyone knows. Well, I know some of you will know who that is, but a lot of like lead by example, not a rah, let's go F and get them type of guy. You know what I mean? So, but as you get older, you turn into that, right? But early on, that's what Sid was. And that's looks what, you know, that's what Marvin Allen kind of said, that's what Tua is right now. Right. So, you know, he's going to I'm going to tell you this right now. Another beautiful thing, if Tua hits this year, you don't think Tyreek's going to rub off on him as a leader. So like, what I mean by that is if let's say Tua becomes a franchise quarterback, there's no doubt about it. He gets an extension, etc. And then Reek, I think he's going to only be here for 3. Once that $50 million salary hit kicks in, he's gone, right? I think it's after 3 years, right? So it lines up with Waddle's extension too. But anyways, once Tyreek leaves, man, I'm telling you, it's going to rub off. And you'll by the time Tyreek leaves, Tua will be a much more vocal leader. If Tua hits, right? So, you know, I think McDaniel and Darrell Bevell are going to teach Tua to be a better quarterback. And I think Tyreek's going to teach him to be a better leader. And that's a That's a good combination for any young quarterback, not just Tua. If we had Justin Herbert, I'd say the same thing, which would be crazy considering what he's shown so far. But then what he would have had previous, I don't think we would have seen what you guys have seen so far. Same thing from Joe Burrow. I still think Joe Burrow would have flashed, but he wouldn't have had what he's had. You know what I mean? So we would have seen flashes and we'd still be as frustrated because, especially with Herbert, right? Everyone would have seen the flashes of the big arm and the flashes of, the big throws, and then a lot of them would have been for naught, right? So just with the coaching around him and stuff. So anyways, it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. This is a huge year and it starts tomorrow. It literally starts tomorrow. And let's put prop bets on it. Well, let's just put bets on it. Who does everyone got showing up for the first to the facility tomorrow? I am going to put my money on first to the facility tomorrow. Obviously not coaches included. Player-wise, I'm putting it on, I want to say Reek, but I'm going to put first on the facility to I'm going to go Javon Holland first. I'm going to say Javon Holland is first to the facility tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Not like I care. It has no bearing on the outcome of camp on who's first to the facility. All right. Let's make that very, very clear right now, because I know that was an issue last year on day one. This year it is not. All right. I just want to make that very clear to everyone. So, all right. Next piece of business as training camp looms. Man, I can't believe it's tomorrow. Let's go. Miami Dolphins training camp preview from Marcel Louis-Jacques. What's at stake for Tua Tagovailoa? The Miami Dolphins opened 2022 training camp on Tuesday at the Baptist Health Training Complex, which you can see if you look over my shoulder right there. Right over there, you can see the facility, baby. Oh man. Here's a few storylines. Who is the player with the most approved? They say, and Marcel says, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. The narrative surrounding him following the Dolphins' flurry of offseason additions is that 2022 is a make or break season for the third-year quarterback. That's not entirely true. Miami's decision makers aren't expecting the type of leap Buffalo's Josh Allen made in his third season when he finished second in league MVP voting. But Tagovailoa still needs to prove he is a viable long-term starter before the Dolphins decide whether to exercise his fifth-year option in May 2023. With the best supporting cast he's had in the NFL, there is no reason to believe he can succeed under first-year coach Mike McDaniel. I think there's no reason to believe he can't succeed. I think Marcel to the editing room floor. But if Tagovailoa is mediocre this season, the Dolphins have the resources to move up for a quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft if needed. Miami owns 5 picks in the first 3 rounds and made it a point to keep them during trade discussions this offseason, which, if you guys remember, they said they had multiple chances to move up in the draft, but they were not willing to move off of capital from next year. And one of my theories for it is not just a quarterback, because what if Tua hits? I think it is because if you look at them right now, they are in the negative as far as cap. Now, I know the cap is a silly number. You can flex it. You can get back in the positive. But I think they're looking for the majority of the influx of new talent next year to come through the draft. Now, that's not saying they're not going to make a few free agent additions. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the influx of talent, majority of it, if Tua hits, is going to come through that draft. Who is the most impactful offseason addition? And they didn't even say, Tyreek. They said left tackle Terron Armstead. There are a few candidates here, starting with receiver Tyreek Hill and McDaniel. But the biggest offseason addition Miami made was signing Armstead. While he doesn't single-handedly solve the Dolphins' pass blocking issues from a season ago, 32nd in pass block win rate, according to NFL Next Gen Stats, and also 32nd in pressures, and also 32nd in PFF grade. He does immediately improve the left side of the offensive line and adds a Pro Bowl caliber player to a position group that was desperate for veteran leadership. His tutelage will be invaluable throughout the summer and season, and Miami's offseason hinges on the play of its offensive line. Again, see? Even they're telling you what it is. I keep telling you, everyone wants to put it on Tua. No, this team's going once again as far as the offensive line will allow them to go. What is the fiercest? That's not to say Tua is exonerated from anything and any responsibility. Don't get me wrong. What is the fiercest fantasy relevant battle? They say running back clearly. Miami has 4 running backs who could produce running back 2 numbers if they were featured back. Unfortunately, there's only one ball, so Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Sonny Michel, Myles Gaskin will have to compete for touches and might be the most crowded backfield in the NFL. While the backfield could turn into a committee, the lead runner in McDaniel's San Francisco offense flirted with running back offensive fantasy production. Edmonds in particular is enticing because of his versatility as a runner and receiver. Camp prediction. Left tackle Austin Jackson will close training camp as a starter. I know how bold it is to predict a 2-year starter and former first-round pick will start once again, but Jackson struggled enough at left tackle last season that the Dolphins moved him to guard in week 5. Many fans felt like the team should move on from Jackson, but his new coaching staff feels like he has untapped potential. The third-year pro will have to battle with Larnell Coleman, Liam Eichenberg, Michael Dieter for 2 open jobs on the offensive line, left guard and right tackle, but he will flash that potential in a major way this summer. And this is what I've told you, man. From the moment we brought in McDaniel, I said, I know people aren't going to like it, but here's the fact. The closest thing we have to Terron Armstead on this roster is Austin Jackson. He was a perfect scheme fit. I told people this from the get-go, and now, that's why they think they have untapped potential. When you get in with coaches, a little ego gets in play, and they think, not only is there untapped potential, but they can coach up a guy better than the last guy did. And based on the resume, I agree with what they're going up with the last guy. So, yeah. So, hey, I've told you guys what I think before. I think not only did they say, hey, see if you can make it with Tua this year, I think they said the same thing for Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, and Michael Dieter, because they were like, draft capital has been invested as well as time. But I think Eichenberg and Austin Jackson were the big ones of, hey, you're bringing in a bunch of gurus. Can you please see if it's going to work? So try and make it work. If not, we will go get your guy. Which sucks because next year, the draft class at tackle isn't like overly blow you away. So we'll let it play out, but it's not that good of a class. Article yesterday from the best in the biz, I think, at least, Barry Jackson. And he said 5 key questions for the Miami Dolphins on defense as camp nears and potential answers. With training camp set to open next Wednesday, so I think he thinks, they're not counting the first. I get what he's not counting till the pads come on. So they do report tomorrow, but he's not counting till the pads come on. With training camp set to open next Wednesday, examining 5 key questions facing the Miami Dolphins in training camp and preseason on defense. How much does edge player Melvin Ingram play if he sticks? That will depend on training camp and preseason performance and production. He could spell Emmanuel Ogbah, who played 67% of the defensive snaps last season, or Andrew Van Ginkel, 71%, or take away time from Brendan Scarlett, who played 90% of the Dolphins snaps last season. Scarlett, incidentally, said he's being used more at defensive end after playing linebacker last season. I doubt Ingram takes many snaps away from Jalen Phillips. I would agree with that. I don't think he dips into Ogbah either. I think him and Van Ginkel, because you saw, and I said it going into last season, right? We were liking what we're seeing early on from Van Ginkel a lot more than what we saw on the full sample last year, because his snaps were more limited and he didn't have as many responsibilities. Last year when his responsibilities got up and the snaps got up, he was still good, but he wasn't as impactful, overall. And that was because, the sample got bigger. So obviously, not everything's going to be impactful. It's just, it evened itself out, right? Though Ingram isn't a tackle, as an FYI, Christian Wilkins played 65%, and Adam Butler played 53% of Miami's defensive snaps last season. There are alignments where Ingram perhaps could take some time from Butler, agreed, though Butler isn't an edge player. Last season, Ingram played 58% of the Chiefs' defensive snaps in his 9 games for Kansas City and 62% in his games for Pittsburgh. I wouldn't expect him to play much as that here, barring injuries or something unforeseen. None of Ingram's $1.7 million salary is guaranteed, so it can't be a disaster in August. His $3.9 million cap hit shrinks to 1.6 if he's cut. Who's the number 3 inside linebacker behind Baker and Elandon Roberts? Duke Riley played 21% of the Dolphins' defensive snaps last season, and the question is how many of those snaps will be poached by Channing Tindall, and I've talked about that, right? When I did my prospect preview, I talked about how I think Channing Tindall is going to take snaps away from Riley and Scarlett early on, and then later you might see him eat into some Roberts snaps. That's what I think might happen, right? At least initially, I would expect Riley to play more. Riley was very good in OTAs, while Tindall was hit and miss, as you expect from a rookie. Tindall is probably the better pass rusher. Riley has half a career sack, partly a result of a lack of usage as a rusher. Conversely, as a pass rusher, PFF rated Tindall 28th of 333 linebackers who had enough pass rush chances to qualify. He had 5.5 sacks last season and 12 in his career at Georgia. Who will ultimately be better as a run defender at the NFL level is unclear. I think it's going to be Tindall because if you see his instincts in the his instincts in the run game are good. Like, he's better against the run than against the pass. Like, he's good against the run. He shows very good instincts against the run. That's what makes me think he just needs more snaps and pass coverage to develop those instincts in pass coverage. He shows very good instincts in the run. So, I mean, maybe Barry didn't watch the film. Riley gets a nod at this point in their careers. If Riley had enough snaps to qualify, he would have tied for 30th as a run defender among 87 linebackers who qualified for PFF's metrics. In the area of defending the run, PFF rated Tindall 218th among 830 FBS linebackers last season. Riley graded out well in pass coverage. Quarterbacks had just a 67.9 passer rating in his coverage area last season with 6 catches and 11 targets for 53 yards. See, that's where he has Tindall beat right now in coverage. Tindall's pass, and that's just because Tindall hasn't got the reps. He needs the reps. Tindall's pass coverage numbers at Georgia last season were okay. He was targeted 17 times and allowed 13 receptions, but for only 72 yards. If the Dolphins use Tindall as a blitzer, which is a strength, that might mean using Jerome Baker more in coverage. Oh, my God. Oh, man, no. Baker already is one of the league's best blitzing inside linebackers, so why would you mess with that? Here were his passer ratings against for the other Dolphin linebackers. Roberts, 85.8, 24 completions for 33 on 33 targets for 283 yards and a touchdown, and a pick 6 for a TD. Phillips, 88.5 passer rating allowed, but just 4 completions. Baker allowed a 91.1. Now you know why I almost choked when it said he's going to have more coverage. He allowed 46 receptions on 64 targets for 387 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. And Van Ginkel allowed 115.5. He allowed 22 receptions for 26 targets for 225 yards and a touchdown. This ultimately comes down to whether the staff trusts Tindall more than Riley early in his rookie season, and I doubt they would. I agree with that assessment. Another factor is whether defensive coordinator Josh Boyd decides to create a package for Tindall to blitz a few times a game, which would seem sensible considering Tindall's skills as a pass rusher. For now, Riley enters camp as a clear front runner to be the top backup behind Baker and Roberts, who plays on a traditional running downs. I agree with that. Who's the number 4? This is a good one, Barry. Who's the number 4 cornerback in the dime packages, or if there's an injury? The Dolphins use a natural 4th cornerback not very often last season, and their primary 4th corner, Justin Coleman, wasn't re-signed and is now with Seattle. The preferred 6th defensive back package features 3 corners, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and Nick Needham, with 3 safeties, Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, and Eric Rowe. So the Dolphins will likely need a 4th cornerback only if someone is injured or Needham regresses. And that comes down to a battle between Noah Benogany, Trill Williams, Quincy Wilson, and less likely D'Angelo Ross or undrafted rookie Kadir Kahu. The Dolphins are looking at Wilson at safety. Don't sleep on Verone McKinley because he played slot to start off at Oregon. Now I know the speed is a little, but he played good in the slot in Oregon when he started. If Igbenogany is pretty good in camp and preseason games, the number 4 job is likely his, but Williams and Wilson shouldn't be discounted. At some point, the Dolphins need a return on the Igbenogany first-round investment. Don't hold your breath. New defensive backs coach Sam Madison said he's in a very good place. He has some talent, has some speed. Byron Jones, incidentally, will begin camp on PUP, the physically unable to perform list. He had surgery in March in an area around his ankle and Achilles. Source said the timetable for recovery was 3 months. So barring a setback, the thought has been that he'd be ready for this season. He can be activated off PUP at any time. So there is your Byron Jones update. Will Phillips show enough to be an every down player? Among 113 qualifying edge players, PFF rated Van Ginkel 75th and Phillips 93rd. Though Phillips had 8.5 sacks as a rookie, PFF just rated him 102nd as a run defender. And that must improve for the Dolphins to constantly trust him as a first and second down player. He has dropped a few pounds, but said he expects to be stout against the run and would love to play most every down. Phillips played 54% of the Dolphins' defensive snaps, compared with 92% for Baker and 71% for Van Ginkel. If Phillips continues to improve, that number should go up, and it will. It will. I already said this guy's going to be a top 10 edge player by year 4. Mark my words. What undrafted rookie could stick, and what veterans are at risk? Among 7 undrafted rookies, a longtime scout said he doubted any of the 53 will make the roster, but didn't rule out Oregon safety Rowan McKinley and Texas A&M Commerce cornerback Kadir Kahu as long shots. The numbers are working against both. Neither stood out in OTA sessions open to reporters. Among veterans, linebackers Sam McGuavin, Scarlett, and Calvin Munson all stand out at varying degrees of risk, but Scarlett was very good in the offseason program and has versatility as an end linebacker, while McGuavin is a reliable backup. All 3 have special teams value. So did Rowan McKinley. Rowan McKinley, remember, he played special teams at Oregon as well. I think he's sleeping on Kellen Deach a little too. I'm not saying Kellen Deach will make it, but he'll put up a fight. None of Munson's $965,000 salary is guaranteed. Of Scarlett's $1 million salary, $450,000 is guaranteed. Iguavin's contract is the same as Scarlett's. Defensive tackle John Jenkins is at major risk. None of his $1.1 million salary is guaranteed. Safety Clayton Fedulum reworked his contract, lowering his salary from $2.5 million to $1.7 million, of which $1 million of that is guaranteed. His cap hit from $2.8 million to $2 million if he's cut. But if Wilson or Sheldrick, Redwine, or McKinley has an exceptional camp in preseason, or someone better becomes available on the waivers, then the Dolphins would need to make a decision with Fedulum. None of safety Rowe's $2.5 million salary is guaranteed, but he's still a helpful piece, and cutting him would be a mistake. Butler's $3.4 million salary isn't guaranteed, but he's a proven player behind Raekwon Davis. Yeah, I know I had Rowe on my surprise cuts, but I think you cut Fedulum before you move off Rowe and you put one of these UDFAs on special teams. That's what I would do. That's the move I would be. Eric Rowe, I think, can still most definitely contribute to this defense, especially like you said with that dime package. So, especially when they go into that diamond and ruby look too, he's a good player, man. And especially if, I think Rowan McKinley, he can play special teams, he can play the slot, he can play single high. I think he's got a shot, man. He at least makes the practice squad. So hopefully he can have a good camp so we can save Fedulum's money. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping happens. So that would be the perfect. Again, guys, we are really close to hitting 8,500. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We are 15 away from 8,500. So smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. There's 431 of you in the room. Appreciate y'all. Help me with my friend Al Algorithm. If you'd like to donate, you can obviously do so below. You can see the links, paypal.me/Phinside, or you can join the Patreon, which is about to pick up. Patreon.com/Phinside The NFL. Definitely going to pick up through camp. And like I said, you can also become a Phinside The NFL member. You can hit that join button right down there below me. Right down there below, you'll see a join button. You can go ahead and hit that if you want. Just appreciate you guys willing to support, but hey, just pressing the thumbs up is enough for me, man. Appreciate all of y'all. Appreciate all of y'all. All right, let's keep it going. There was a very controversial article that actually came out today. Now, when I originally put it aside, I was like, okay, we'll talk about 2 on this, right? But there are some things that are said that were about other quarterbacks that were, made a deal of. And again, it's behind a paywall. It's with the Athletic, so I'm going to show you guys it. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about so you guys can see this. There's some stuff said about Brady and Mahomes specifically. So the NFL quarterback tiers 2022, Allen, Herbert, and Burrow make tier 1 debuts. It's a new era for quarterback tiers as 50 NFL coaches and executives have shaken up the elite ranks for 2022, the 9th iteration of my annual survey. Young guns Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow have joined the tier 1 ranks, with a couple of big names are conspicuously missing, including a certain quarterback the Seattle Seahawks traded to Denver in a blockbuster deal, recasting expectations for both franchises. The full 2022 quarterback tier results are below for every veteran starter. The results reflect voting for 50 NFL coaches and executives, including 6 general managers, 8 head coaches, 10 evaluators, 12 coordinators, 6 quarterback coaches, and 7 execs whose specialties include analytics, game management, and a salary cap. The remaining ballot was put together by 4 members of one team's personnel department. The panel placed 35 veteran quarterbacks into one of 5 tiers, from best tier 1 to worst tier 5. Quarterbacks were ranked by average vote and placed into tiers based on vote distribution, beginning with Aaron Rodgers, whose 1.00 average vote reflected his status as a unanimous tier 1 selection. The survey excludes rookies because voters have not seen them play in the NFL. More than one quarterback is featured for teams with unsettled starting jobs. Tier 1. A tier 1 quarterback can carry his team each week. His team wins because of him. He expertly handles pure passing situations. He has no real holes in his game. So number 1, they got Aaron. You all know how I feel about Aaron. Aaron is, my favorite non-Dolphin player, best passer of the football I've seen since Dan Marino. Right? He's just the updated version of Dan Marino, the more athletic one. Right? Look at this though. Look at this crazy quote though. Check this out. Tom Brady has the more decorated career with 10 Super Bowls and 7 rings. But I will say this, an offensive coach said, Aaron Rodgers has helped elevate every player on that offense. Brady with N'Keal Harry did not elevate his game. Aaron has had Devontae Adams, but he is still waiting for a first-round receiver. They have not had great receivers overall, and he is still putting up major numbers. Absolutely taking a swipe at Brady. When I read that, I was like, geez. So number 2, they got Patrick Mahomes. They said a single contrarian prevented him. But look at what this guy said. I want y'all to read this. A single contrarian voter prevented Mahomes from tying Rodgers at the top. That voter, a veteran defensive play caller, thinks there were times last season when Mahomes failed to read defenses the way top-tier quarterbacks should. We love Mahomes because of his unorthodox throws, not because of his natural pocket presence, this voter said. Check this out. And when that disappears, that is when they lose games. I don't think that is a number 1. I think that is a 2. Nothing against the guy. I love the kid. But take his first read away, and what does he do? He runs, he scrambles, and he plays street ball. Wow. Woo! Jeez! Just nuke this guy. There's people out here calling Mahomes a one-read quarterback. I mean, he ain't lying when the first read ain't there. He starts moving around and relying on his natural athleticism, but that's because the guy's got it. But you're basically implying he can't read defenses. Wow. He's not lying. When that first read isn't there, he automatically relies on his natural athletic ability and his arm to save him. I'm not denying that. You know what I mean? There's no denying that. But this guy's implying he's like a one-read guy. Whoo! Oh, shots fired. Right across the car, bro. Wow. Woo! They just rolled up on Mahomes and unloaded. Whew. Tom Brady came in at number 3. And I mean, what can you say? Josh Allen came in at number 4. And, someone said he proved he can play in big moments, et cetera, et cetera. Someone said Josh Allen is a better version of Lamar Jackson. Man. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Pucker your lips, pucker your bum holes, Dolphin haters. Justin Herbert got put on number 5. And I mean, someone said combine some of Burrow's accuracy with some of Allen's size and athleticism, and you got Herbert. The guy said, I think he's the next big guy. He is on his way, because the thing with him is he's not quite the passer, but he's kind of a bigger version of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. Damn. Joe Burrow, number 6, that should be expected. You know what I mean? Clearly, that should be expected after what happened. So, and he went way up. I mean, you look at his voting last year compared to where he was, right? So, he got called a GM who put Allen and Burrow in the top tier, but not Herbert, said Burrow is a young Tom Brady. I would have Burrow higher than Herbert right now. Burrow's shown he can do it in big games. Herbert hasn't yet for me. A tier, and I think Stafford should be in tier 1. This is bullshit. A tier 2 quarterback can carry his team sometimes, but not as consistently. I mean, he was the only thing, him and Calvin Johnson in the Lions. He can handle pure passing situations in doses and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3. Matt Stafford, I mean, I can hate. They put him right on the cusp. So I think Stafford's a stud. Russell Wilson dropping down. You can see his voting average last year, right? You remember 2020? Look at, they had him as the number 1 guy. Now he's dropped down. Look at that. Dropped down to what he was in 2018. Russell Wilson is now at 8. And in case you didn't know, we got a while to go till Tua, guys. So we're going to go there. I'm going to go through each one so you guys see how they have these tiers, because we've talked about it. Deshaun Watson at number 9. Watson got votes in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd tiers, plus a lone vote in tier 5. Jeez. Someone said a tier 1 distraction is what Watson is. It blows me away paying the all-time NFL contract for a tier 2 player. Someone said, another GM said, I can't believe the Browns did what they did. There's just too many unknowns. Someone else said a defensive coordinator. No, he is all screwed up. I'm guessing he said effed up, but they called him a number 1 straight up. They said he's number 1. And then someone said, it will not be hard to put Watson back into tier 1 if he does what the Dolphins and Cleveland and half other teams thought he would do if they signed him. Makes sense. Lamar Jackson, they had 10th overall. Look at what someone said. Look at this. You cannot go into a game and not account for this guy. You know what I mean? Because he's an athlete, right? Look at what someone else said, though. Check this out. If he has to pass to win the game, they ain't winning the game. Another defensive coordinator said, he's so unique as an athlete and he's a really good football player, but I don't care if he wins the league MVP 12 times. I don't think he'll ever be a 1 as a quarterback. He'll be a 1 as a football player. See, differentiating him, but not as a quarterback. So many games come down to 2 minute, and that is why they had a hard time advancing, even when they're good on defense. Playoffs are tight. You have to be able to throw the ball, and he's just so inconsistent throwing the ball. It is hit or miss. Oof. Ouch. 11 for Dak Prescott. I would have Dak higher than Lamar. Derek, I would have Derek higher than Lamar right now, to be honest with you, too, maybe. Derek, I agree with this. He's close to tier 1. Derek Carr is, I think he's slept on. Derek Carr is really underrated. Kyler Murray at 13. Everyone hating on him getting paid. Someone said I thought about giving him a 3 because of the meltdown against the Rams in the playoffs. Was a meltdown, but by the same token, he's talented. He is athletic. He runs around. He extends it down. Plays with his feet. Yeah. I mean, Murray's got all the talent in the world. He's just got to really put it together. He's got to stop being streaky and be consistent. Matt Ryan at number 14. I'd put him in top 15. Now tier 3. A tier 3 quarterback is a legitimate starter, but needs a heavier running game and or defensive component to win. A lower volume drop back passing offense suits him best. So They got Kirk Cousins at 15 when the guy's got ridiculously gaudy numbers. Make that make sense. Jimmy G at 16. Someone said it reminds him of Tannehill. Someone put him in the 2. Someone says he's close to a 2 to me, but I'll give him a 3. If I was the owner there, it would really piss me off trading so much capital for Lance at Garoppolo's expense, possibly without getting better. Whoo, taking the shots at Lance. Wow. Ryan Tannehill at number 17. Definition of a number 3 quarterback. Mac Jones at 18. Someone says, I think if Mac Jones wasn't in New England with that hype machine, maybe he would be viewed a little differently. You think? If Mac Jones was in Jacksonville last year, what would he have been? How would people feel? He'd be out of the league, bro. He'd be gone. Baker Mayfield at 19. Someone said I think he's a 3 with upside. Anyways, let's get going here. So 20 is Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. 22 is Jared Goff because they skip it because they were tied. 23, explain this to me how Trevor Lawrence is ahead of Tua when Tua had a better rookie season on a 60% hip. What is going on here? They gave him a partial pass on his rookie year, given the Urban Meyer debacle. Are we serious right now? We're giving out passes now? I thought we're living in a world where no passes are given. Jameis Winston, 24. The disrespect. Tier 4. A tier 4 quarterback could be an unproven player or a veteran who ideally would not start all 17 games. Justin Fields is ranked higher. They ranked Justin Fields off that year he had last year higher than Tua. Unbelievable. So they got Tua right now at 26. That is ridiculous. Skepticism continues to engulf Tagovailoa. Last offseason, voters placed him in tier 4, partly because they didn't have enough information to place elsewhere. This offseason, voters placed him there because they've seen enough to say he does not belong higher. He is being set up for success with a running game, defense, offensive line, and then obviously the impact players at the skill positions, an offensive coach said. If there's ever a time for him to be successful, it is this season. What is success? Staying healthy all year and leading his team to the playoffs. Voters worry about Tagovailoa's ability to process quickly enough to protect himself. They question how well he identified protections, coverages, and mic points while blaming him for getting hurt against Buffalo when he failed to account for a pass rusher. He's a guy that I'm still holding on to the edge of my chair when I'm watching him play, a QB coach said. I'm still cheering for him, and I'm just hoping it doesn't implode. Having Tyreek and Terron Armstead and all the talent they have, there's no excuses anymore. He's got to get it done. An evaluator called Tagovailoa the most accurate of the recent Alabama quarterbacks, but he called Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones much fiercer competitors, which could help them grind through struggles. Obviously, he didn't watch the Atlanta game. It's not all negative for Tua, however. I'm excited to see what he does with this supporting cast, an offensive coordinator said. I'm a big fan of the offense they are installing, getting the quarterback to make quick and easy decisions. I don't think Tua is moving into a consistent 2, but I could see some people next year saying he has a good year and that he has some Tua attributes. I like what they're building around him down there. So people they interviewed are clearly low on Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, I'm objective. I got to show you guys the good and the bad here. But the Athletic and the people they talk to are clearly low on Tua Tagovailoa. And it's going to take this man turning around. Those numbers I give you, if you can get 3,200 yards, right? You need 3,800 to 4,200 yards. You need 28 to 32 touchdowns. And you need 8 to 12 interceptions. And you need your passer rating high 90s. You're good. If he gets there, yeah, that'll go up. That'll go up. Because remember, I keep going back. Burrow, as a rookie, there was no gap between him and Tua when he got hurt. What happened? The supporting cast got much better for Joe Burrow, and they continued building the offense that was already ready for him. He came from a West Coast at LSU. They ran a West Coast in Cincy, and they continued building it for him. They continued building out. So, All right, PFF. You guys are gonna like this. Here's some better news. PFF, they ranked every single NFL roster, strengths, weaknesses, and X factors for every starting lineup. So they said a wild offseason filled with surprising trades shook up rosters from coast to coast. The lineups of both Super Bowl participants lost some key elements. Consequently, neither the world champion Los Angeles Rams nor the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals sit atop the annual PFF roster rankings for 2022. Where do the Rams and Bengals rank? Which team has ascended to number one? Which teams are ready to pounce, and which look like they'll fall by the wayside? With the 2022 NFL draft and free agency behind us, we're breaking down each team's roster using the PFF database with an eye toward the projected starters. We looked at both the PFF grades from the 2021 season, a number included for every projected starter, and a more comprehensive assessment of each player's career using both PFF grades and statistics. PFF grades of 90 plus categorized as elite, 80 to 89.9 are good, high quality, 70 to 79.9 check in as average, and 69.9 or lower are considered below average. For rookies and players not active or barely active in 2021, we use college grades or NFL grades from earlier seasons. NFL grades from 2020 or earlier are marked with a asterisk. College grades from 2020 are marked with 2 asterisks. College grades from 2020 or earlier are marked with 3 of them. Here's how the 32 rosters stack up heading into the season. So number one, they have the Bills as the best roster in the NFL, and they have Von Miller as their X factor. They have Tampa Bay as the second best roster in the NFL. The Chargers are their number one, and they got Sebastian Joseph Day, the interior defensive lineman, as their X factor. The Rams are the 4th best. At the 5th best are the Packers. The 6th best are the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson added. 7th is the Eagles, which we all know they're going to put up another great offensive line like they do every year. The Bengals are actually now number 8. Number 9 is the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 10, they have the Miami Dolphins, have the 10th best roster in the NFL. So they say the biggest strength, the speed, Miami could put on the field with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle at wide receiver, Mike Gesicki at tight end, and Raheem Mostert at running back should be a frightening proposition for opposing defenses. That speed obviously poses a downfield threat, but its biggest impact might come via Tua Tagovailoa operating as a point guard, while Miami's playmakers create explosive plays with the ball in their hands. Hill and Waddle were both top 12 wide receivers in the NFL last season in yards after the catch. Their biggest weakness, the right side of the Dolphins' offensive line will have a lot of highly drafted talent available to fill 2 starting spots, but the talent has yet to establish itself in the form of quality NFL starters. Robert Hunt, Liam Eichenberg, and Austin Jackson were all drafted with top 40 picks in the past 3 off seasons, but none has cracked a 70 PFF grade as of yet. Right tackle is the biggest concern. Assuming Hunt remains at right guard, Eichenberg and Jackson have a combined for a 46.3 pass blocking grade when lined up at tackle in the NFL. The X factor for 2022, few quarterbacks have been criticized as much as Tagovailoa, the number 5 overall pick in the 2020 draft. Tagovailoa has been asked to operate behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league across his first 2 NFL seasons, but his lack of big playability is still concerning. His 2.3 big-time throw rate, defined as well-placed passes downfield or into tight windows, ranks 30th out of 32 qualifying quarterbacks since 2020. The Dolphins have done a good job of surrounding him with more talent this offseason. Now it's on him to produce in a make-or-break year. And this is they put the roster. They have Connor at center and Eichenberg at left guard. So they did it right. They have our offensive line pretty much right. So we'll see. I think, again, this is why I don't believe in their grades fully, because Robert Hunt, come on. That is ridiculous that he's under a 70. Give me a break. Guy's been absolutely fantastic. He was you guys are nuts. Anyways, I agree. Top 10 roster. PFF showing some love after the Athletic goes in on us. Guys, 489 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Closing in on 8,500. Let's get there. Help me out with my friend Algorithm. Just smash that like button, baby. All right. Continuing on Bleacher Report, they predicted every NFL team's bust in 2022. So predicting every NFL team's biggest bust of the 2022 NFL season. At this juncture of the offseason, every franchise has reason to be optimistic about the upcoming NFL campaign. While a case can be made for just about any player to have a strong showing this coming year, the truth is that each team will have at least one bust amongst the noteworthy talents on their 2022 rosters. Expectations may be high for these players going into the season, but there is a strong chance they fail to meet them for a variety of reasons. With that in mind, here's a look at the player with the most bust potential on each of the league's 32 teams, as well as some of the reasons why they will disappoint this year. So let's get down here to Miami. Guys. All right. So they got Tua Tagovailoa. They predict Tua Tagovailoa will be our biggest bust. The Miami Dolphins finally made the decision to fully commit to Tua Tagovailoa this offseason. After seemingly endless trade speculation to the start of his career, the Fins opted to build around the young signal caller and provided him the tools needed to succeed in 2022. Guys like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Cedric Wilson Jr. making up one of the league's most impressive receiving corps and an improved offensive line that picked up an elite left tackle in Taron Armstead. It's now up to Tua Tagovailoa to show he can become a top-tier NFL quarterback. Expectations will be high for the number 5 overall pick in 2020 to evolve his game this coming season. He's come painfully close to making the playoffs in each of the last 2 years and has a decent 13-8 career record as a starter. But his stat line does leave something to be desired. Tagovailoa has completed 66.2% of his passes for 4,467 yards, 27 touchdowns against 15 interceptions with 40 sacks taken. Getting better at throwing the deep ball will be imperative. The 24-year-old has only connected on 17 of his 48 passes that have traveled 20-plus yards in the air, a number that needs to improve with Hill on the roster. I mean, again, see, they automatically go to the deep game without realizing Tyreek's perfect for the short and intermediate level. I mean, what do we keep saying before we had these guys? With playmakers, you're supposed to get the ball in their hands. Listen, this is what I said when we drafted Waddle, when we got a 4.27 guy. It's not about just sending him running on a 4.27 vert. It's not just like, okay, run, go blaze a guy. No. With that type of speed, you are trying to get them into soft spots in the coverage or to beat the man coverage. And you're trying to get the ball in their hands and you're trying to get them in open space because that speed is more deadly in open space with the ball in their hands than trying to run down go routes and 9 routes. That's just what it is. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's just literally what it is. All right. So, you know, that's what you're out here to do with this. So we're about to hit the short intermediate levels and then go over the top when the plays present themselves with Tua. That's what Brady has done in Tampa. That's what he did in New England. You take the short to intermediate level, and then when the throws present themselves, you go over the top and you make the throw. So, Bleacher Report, unbelievable. Ridiculous that they're predicting Tua to be a bust. Tua has already shown he can be a competent starter at the NFL level. So, no, he's not a bust. Ridiculous. Just quickly here. This is on heavy on 49ers. NFL exec calls Jimmy G a fit for AFC East contender. The San Francisco 49ers granted quarterback Jimmy G permission to seek a trade on July 20th, according to a report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, but sources inside the NFL don't expect a deal is imminent. San Francisco is in a tight place. And then it goes on to say it's either going to come down to trading him or cutting him, and they're going to lose a trade no matter what. So the point that matters to us here, because I don't even want to cover this for long because it's ridiculous. However, the executive believes that a reunion of sorts could be in the works for Garoppolo. Garoppolo reunited with the Dolphins. Because interest in Garoppolo has been so tepid all offseason, perhaps a surprise destination for the veteran wouldn't be all that surprising. The Miami Dolphins have been linked only in passing to Garoppolo, but giving new head coach Mike McDaniel's familiarity with Garoppolo from his time with Kyle Shanahan's offensive coordinator, perhaps South Beach reunion could be in the work. I know this, the executive said, told Heavy. Jimmy G is way more liked in the league circles as a player than Tua is. He's accomplished more, and that matters in his position almost more than anything did. And remember, Mike McDaniel knows Jimmy really well. Miami pushed all their chips into the middle of the table this offseason, trading for Tyreek Hill, signing Chase Edmonds, and perhaps the big splash of all, bringing on Terron Armstead. If McDaniel isn't confident in Tua. Anyways, this is just all conjecture. Like, that's all this is. This is conjecture. But what I'm here to tell you guys is it's not happening. And this is why it's not happening. I'll tell you why it's not happening. I'll give you the exact specifics why. So during OTAs, if you go back, I posted a Patreon during OTAs at the end of May, beginning of June. What I said was, and what I'll tell you guys here is, I was told during OTAs that there's installs in this playbook that McDaniel wants to run, that he was running in Atlanta with Shanahan and Ryan, that were taken out of the San Francisco playbook under Jimmy G because of Jimmy G's arm limitations. So, long story short, I've been told they want to run things in Atlanta they ran with Matt Ryan, where Matt Ryan had his MVP season. They want to run a lot of stuff similar to that in this offense, but Tua's the guy. And so that right there tells you, if they couldn't run it with Jimmy G with their limitations, and they've installed it in this offense to run it with Tua because they like Tua's arm better, why would they go out and get Jimmy G? That would make no sense. They're installing literal offensive play calls that they took out under Jimmy G. So, no. The Jimmy G stuff is absolutely pure conjecture. People trying to get ahead of it and trying to link one to another. Not happening, right? Not happening. That's why they went with Bridgewater. Bridgewater has a better arm than Jimmy. Joe, when I'm dropping my McDaniel offense film study. I've told y'all from the beginning, I'm going to have Miami and Atlanta stuff in there, not just one or the other. So, yeah, it's nonsense. It's pure nonsense. Jimmy G is not coming. They've installed stuff in this playbook that they ran in Atlanta that they couldn't run in San Fran under Jimmy G. Now, why would they go get Jimmy G? Because now they got to go take that stuff out. So, no, it's absolutely just trying to fit the pieces. And it's not like they gave Teddy peanuts. Teddy makes a decent salary. If Tua goes down, Teddy's the guy, not Jimmy. And then finally, some good news, man. Some more good news. Get ready, baby, because he's healthy and he's ready to go. Raheem Mostert has officially been cleared. It is go time. He is ready to go. And he went on, and go look at his Twitter. He went on to say, I guess he was told that he might not ever play again. So it was a really big moment for him today. Absolutely beautiful stuff, man. Raheem Mostert, he's back. He's cleared. He's ready to go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, man, the excitement is palpable. Football is in the air. It all starts tomorrow. Raheem Mostert is back. Add another weapon to the arsenal. Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. 493 of you in the room. I will be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as the Dolphins report to training camp for day one. It's going to be huge. Remember, again, day 1 to day 3, it's going to be non-contact stuff, and the pads will not be coming on until day 7. The pads come on day 7. We'll be into the early onset of August. And then after that, we'll start getting into the joint practices. It's going to be a hype time, man. It's football is back, baby. You can feel it. Got the goosies. Check your pulse. Let's go, baby. Football is officially back. Oh, man, I love it, man. We about to wake up to training camp tomorrow. Let's go. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Dropping that link if some of y'all want to hop in backstage, chop it up. Check the comment section, link backstage so we can kick it for a little bit before I get out of here. 490, smash that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. We are still about to hit 4,500. So let's get there by the end of the night, guys. Man, I appreciate all of you guys for continuing to show support and to show love. We are 11 away from 8,500. Let's get there. I love all of y'all. Even the haters, y'all make me better. Y'all already know what time it is, baby. 498 of you in the room. Smash that like button on your way out. Fins up all day, every day, even beyond the coffin in which we lay. Let's get it, baby. I will see y'all tomorrow. Day 1 of training camp. Check your pulse, baby. Let's go.